Mhm.
So, hello everyone. We are meeting today for a beautiful astrological weaving. Today with Anna from Namkha and me. I'm Nara, and we want to not only compare two astrological systems, the Indian astrological system and the Tibetan, but we also want to give also an impression into our work and how compatibility analysis works in astrology, because many people don't know about it. There's a lot of, let's say, ideas that may not actually be completely entirely true, like using apps that are kind of wishy-washy in their analysis and that also need a little bit of a more deeper approach to. Also in the language, it can be often very biased an analysis, like a relationship is good or bad, and there's actually a huge spectrum to it and a lot of attention also we need to put into the details. So we want to kind of give an idea into how our work looks like. So Anna, I'm so happy to connect with you.
Thank you for
And
having me here.
yes, and I'm so curious about Tibetan astrology, and I'm very curious into your path and how you have come to it. But maybe this we leave for another call, unless you want to like talk a little bit about it now.
I think it's a good idea to talk about it now.
Okay. So yes, please share with us.
Okay, so it's interesting thing because before I met teachings, I was 100% scientific atheist. I
Oh
didn't
wow.
believe in anything. I denied everything. I mocked astrology, all kinds of, and was very skeptical. But it started, my journey has started from the moment when my future husband presented me a Namkha, and Namkha is a special thread cross that protects and harmonizes life. And I was informed that 2 or 3 months after receiving it, a person will meet changes. And after 3 months of having an Namkha, my life was completely destroyed. It's what's very funny because I wasn't healthy enough. I had deep mental problems. I had depression, deep depression, and great exhaustion. So I couldn't live as a normal person. And after I received Namkha, um, the remains of that miserable life just destroyed. And I believed just once, at once, that these energies exist, that magic exists, and that I need to accept my path in Buddhism. And I started my path as a Namkha weaver. And when I left Russia, because I'm from Russia,
Mhm.
uh, during the war, I also was happy to meet a teacher who taught people Tibetan astrology in Russia in online format. And now it's my, my core, my life.
Beautiful. Wow. So your astrological practice and the Namka weaving gave you purpose and an anchor and
Yeah.
healing.
Yes.
Yes, and a closure to maybe the wounded identity and the suffering that you have been going through. Would you like to share us one of your Namkha weavings, just for
Uh,
the watchers,
yes,
so they have an idea what it is?
yes, I need to go to another room, but
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, they look so beautiful. So if you don't know them, you definitely should see them. And yeah, I don't know much about it myself, but I have been also very interested into those weavings. And I actually have seen them also in other indigenous practices and cultures. So,
back. So this is an Namkha. It's the construction of wooden sticks and threads. Each Namkha is calculated individually based on your Tibetan astrology parameters, and it has 4 energy parameters, which are doubled on the birth level and the level of current circumstances. So we have life energy, the most important, because without life energy, we don't live. It's like head in a human body or heart. Then we have
but what would that concept be? Just a second. What would that be? Would that be La or
no,
no,
it's
it would be Sog?
sog. It's sog.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we have Vang. It's translated as power, and it's responsible for our material conditions, wealth, our power, our influence on other people. Then we have body aspect, also translated as health, and it's responsible for our health and body condition. And also we have fortune aspect, lung or lungta, which is responsible for flow of happy and favorable events in our life. And it's also responsible of how others treat us. Are they kind to us, or maybe there's a gossip behind your back, and so forth. And these parameters repeat like it's mirror of these parameters, the lower part. And we harmonize these elements in this Namkha, because elements, which are centers of the Namkha, in the Namkha, these centers, these are elements. 5 primary elements which rule our energies. And usually they are in conflict. And in the Namkha, in this structure, we harmonize all these aspects. So life becomes harmonized. And the last energy is La. It is the contour of an Namkha. La energy is a protective energy. Also, it's responsible for our mental condition, our creativity, our intellectual work. And La element is always the mother of life. They have this kind of relationship, because it's also La is also translated like soul, and soul, or our reincarnation, creates our life. That is why it's mother to life.
Wow.
And yeah, and this thread process, they have strict instruction how to construct them. Even one mistake makes this thread cross ineffective. That's why there are people who transmit this knowledge of how to construct an Namkha, me included. And also what makes an Namkha an effective and living object is power, is a ritual of empowerment, during which we invite deities of 5 elements to abide in Namkha firmly and protect us. And that's why it works.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Incredible practice.
And just to show, I make namkhas of two types, wood namkhas and metal namkhas. And at this moment, I am the only one namkha weaver who works with metal. And I just, experiment a lot. And such namkhas are intended for really difficult cases when everything else fails to help. And for example, we used three metal namkhas for each of one of us, for myself and for my husband, to leave Russia. When I made six namkhas, six metal namkhas for us for different periods of birth, like month, day, or time of birth, we managed to leave Russia.
Wow. And
Yeah.
is that your innovation, or is that also coming from the tradition?
Yes, it's also coming from tradition because, I wouldn't dare to add something from myself to the tradition. It's not right. We have root text from Namkha Chogyal Namkha Norbu, who discovered this method through his dream. It was Mein Terma, when he received instructions from a Bon deity. And Bon is a pre-Buddhist tradition of Tibet, shamanic tradition. So this is the shamanic item.
Incredible. Yes. Thank you for sharing, giving us a little bit of a glimpse into your other practice, which is kind of linked also to your astrological practice, because you have to look into a chart in order to make a personal, individualized Namkha, correct? Yeah.
Correct, yes.
So I'm very excited to now dive with you into compatibility analysis, because I've seen you have been sharing on social media one of your protocols, and it reminded me actually of my study in India, which is also very extensive. So I thought that might be a very interesting exploration. And yeah, so I'm gonna like make my camera off so we can really fully see your screen.
Mm-hmm.
And today we will do the Washingtons, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so let's begin with them.
Mm-hmm. I will right away.
I
I
wonder,
will share my screen.
yes, perfect, but the screen is not getting bigger though.
I think now we can see it in a good quality. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the fundamental thing about Tibetan astrology, Nakzi astrology, that it's based on elements. It's elemental astrology. So each energy parameter in Tibetan astrology has its own element, and these elements, there are five elements, primordial elements. They have a relationship with each other, and this relationship can be harmonious. For example, these two elements have harmonious relationship because water creates trees and wood and everything green.
Mm-hmm.
And in another way, these elements have disharmonious relationship because, for example, water distinguishes fire and so on. But at the same time, water is the friend of fire because, fire is a friend of water because it helps to kind of work. So the water under heating is expands, and that's why these elements have these relationships. So water is the enemy to fire, but fire is a friend to water. And based on this relationship, we analyze pretty any type of a horoscope in Tibetan astrology. For example, right now I'm studying medical astrology, and the principle is the same. Everything is based on the relationship of these 5 primary elements. And these 5 primary elements create a circle. So water creates trees, wood. From wood we get fire. From fire we get ashes, which turns to earth. And the essence of earth is metal. And when we melt metal, it's similar to water. And this cycle starts again. So speaking of our first couple.
It's very similar to Korean traditional medicine, by the way. Like it's like a universal truth in that it's very logic as well.
Yeah, it's also like this 5 element system came from China. So it's Chinese influence on Tibetan astrology. And I will be curious to find similarities with Vedic astrology, because Indian astrology is also had influence on Tibetan astrology.
Yes.
So I need to close the Manjushri file. So today we're analyzing long-term relationship of Pauletta Washington and Denzel Washington, famous actor. And first thing we identify is their animal of birth, because in Tibetan astrology we have 12-year cycle of different animals. It's similar to zodiac signs in Western astrology. And there are 12 animals, and Pauletta is a metal tiger. She was born in the year of the metal tiger. And Denzel Washington was born in the year of wood horse, what we see in the top of the screen. And basically, we analyze their 4 energies I described in the Namkha, the same energies from different angles and perspectives. So first, we compare their energies. Sog is life, as I mentioned before. Lu is health and body condition. One stone is success, wealth, power, and influence. And Lung stone is our fortune and how others treat us, and whether there's gossip or absence of it. And you also see stone, because in ancient times, Tibetan astrologer would take a stick and draw lines on the soil and create tables and putting stones, white or black, depending on if this parameter turns out to be positive or negative. Positive for white stone or negative for black stone. And in our modern tradition, we just replace stones with 2 letters, O for positive, X for negative. So first thing, we compare how life energy of wife of Pauletta affects life energy of Denzel. And this stone is positive, so it tells that long life await them, great care for each other in old age, and we see this is a long-term relationship over 30 years, I believe.
I think like over 40 even.
40, yes, 40. I just, I confused 14 and 40. Sorry for my English.
No worries.
I'm introvert, so I write better in English than I speak English.
Yes, like
Okay.
I'm the same, you know. It's not our native language, but I think we're doing well so far.
Mhm. And there's also an interesting thing that there are four parameters, and with two parameters, we compare how a wife affects husband, and with two other parameters, we investigate how husband affects wife's energies. So Sog, Life, and Lung are the most important energies for a man, for husband, and in this case, we investigate how wife affects these energies, Sog life and Lung fortune. And in this case, their interaction on Lung energy, the fourth one, is neutral, neither good or bad. But there will be other angles from which we will analyze this energy, so it's not, the final conclusion. And we investigate how body energy, health energy affects wife, and how it affects wealth. So there's a good news for us, lady, that energy of wealth and material being is most important for female persons.
Mm-hmm.
So the next parameter is the Lu, and their interaction gives us negative stone, great sorrow and illness. Also, the Tibetan astrology commentary is uncompromising, so there will be offspring with sensory defects. But I
Mm-hmm.
would replace that there's the high possibility of offspring with some
Pardon?
issues.
What is there? High?
There's the high possibility.
There's a high possibility. Okay. Do you know if they have kids?
I haven't checked that.
Just let me check. Just a sec, okay?
Yeah.
So yes, they have four children together. Um,
But
Even twins. They have twins as well. And
no,
let me see if there are any known.
there's the also one thing about this parameter. Like Denzel is known for his charity work, for supporting initiatives related to children.
Mhm.
And this work compensates negative effect of health energy, because when we help others to prolong their life, to improve health conditions, it positively affects our own health energy. So that's why I think everything is great in their family, because there's a lot of correction
Yes.
goes.
Okay, so that Lu Stone
Lusto is neutralized
is
by,
neutralized. Okay.
yes, by charity work, because it's very important. And the general advice here that, for example, if we have problems with SOG life energy, we need to help others to prolong their lives. For example, feed birds, animals, donate to shelters, and so on.
Correct.
Yes, and with the health stone, it's the same. Like if we help others donate to different foundations related to different disorders, it's also help us to improve health energy.
Isn't that beautiful how we are all interrelated?
Yes, it's great. It's very inspiring.
So I just checked. There are no known facts on the health conditions of the children, but as it looks like, they are all very successful in the entertainment industry, they are directors, producers, actresses, and yeah, it seems they are very prominent as well in mainstream media and film and acting, even football. All right, so their children seem very fine.
Yes, because there is the, I don't know, conscious or unconscious, but there's the great correction stream brought into their lives. So that's why I think everything is excellent regarding that issue. So
Beautiful.
the next, yes. So the next stone is Wang, power, success, capacity. It's all the translation for Wang. And this parameter is exceptionally good. So yeah, very how would be just a sec. Very successful, very powerful, famous. It's all reflected. So that's why they are so successful, because they are together, they create excellent bank energy, excellent energy of success, of power. And fortune stone is neutral, but also we analyze the same four energies from different angles. So we need to go further. And we analyze the Miwa part, and Miwa part is, I will switch again to frontal camera. It's easier to show in Namkha, because Namkha is the same parameters we exploring in this session. So this is birth parameters we get when we are born, and the lower part is the current circumstances. So Miwa, it's called Miwa parameters, and Miwa is translated as birthmark. And the vision here is that birthmark can appear on any part of the body without any special conditions. They just appear. And the same, like myriad of circumstances combine in one point, and they create the same birthmark. So this is Miwa. And we have...
It's that table, right? With the 9. Is it that?
Yes. Yes, so it's that 9 numbers of Miwa. It's Tibetan numerology, and we are working with it actively in this type of horoscope, compatibility horoscope.
Interesting.
So one of the most important analysis here is comparing Miwas of each person and how they interact together. And again, SOG parameter, like very good, the spawn of prosperity. There are again problems with health energy. In this parameter 1, we see negative aspect, but we need to summarize all parameters we analyze to give like the overall picture. And as I remember, in other points, in other parameters, Wang remains positive. And to the contrary, fortune is positive when we analyze Miwa aspects. Okay, one more important thing in Tibetan astrology is age comparison, and it's considered unfavorable if wife older than husband. It's kind of patriarchal thing.
Yes, I just wanted to say that.
So I don't know how it works in modern times. But if we kind of use classic tools and analysis, it's not favorable. However, I don't agree with it personally. Okay.
And is it also the other way around?
It's good if husband older than wife, and one more non-feministic point is that if life element of husband acts as enemy to wife's life element, it's considered a good marriage.
Hmm.
When man suppresses woman.
Yes, for sure. But I was wondering, and so even if there is, for example, an age difference of, let's say, 30 years, it's
In
still,
class, it's still a favorable. There are special combination of animal and elements,
yes.
like water dragon and, for example, metal snake. And in these combinations, the age difference is around 26 years or something like that. So yeah, age gap is considered favorable, which is
Very
also
interesting.
questionable right now.
But I really like how you deal with it
Yes,
by not dealing with it.
yes, because I am kind of feminist in this regard, like nope things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, great.
So the next parameter is kinship of elements. We again like we have one numbers, and we multiply all husbands miwas and all wives miwas and see if they can be divided by two. This union is considered favorable. And yes, their kinship of the elements is favorable. So it means that this is the life in perfect harmony, few quarrels, no disputes or condemnations. So again, we receive confirmation that this union is favorable, and that's why there are 40-year history of this relationship.
I have a quick question to the body aspect. Is there really meant the sex, or what is meant by body aspect isn't favorable?
You are absolutely correct, because body aspect is also responsible in the union, in a relationship, for sexual life. So again, we don't know, but as this aspect is compensated with charity work and so forth, I think that also affects and heals the particular problems in this relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we always analyze sexual compatibility in the horoscope.
And that's included now in this section, or is it still coming?
It's good for you to mention, because it belongs to this section. Yes. Yes.
Okay, very good. Interesting.
Yeah. Also, the next parameter is comparing the elements of month of birth and elements of day of birth, because in Tibetan astrology calendar, each year, month, day, and hour has its own element, like I mentioned before, 5 primary elements. and we compare elements of month of birth of both spouses and day of birth. And if we know exact time of birth, we also compare time of birth. In this case, we don't know, so only month and day. And the sum of them gives us neutral, because a month is hostile, day is harmonious. So their sum gives us neutral answer. So that's good. Neither good, neither bad.
And the hour you didn't include because from Pauletta we don't have the exact time of birth, right? Just from Denzel.
Yes, yes. So that's why I didn't include this into the analysis.
And do you think, like, I wonder if not having the birth time might give a big impact in your analysis, or
Oh, the rule,
a difference in the final result.
like it's considered as a karmic predisposition. Like the karma is that you don't have these parameters,
Yes.
and according to the Tibetan astrology, we just work with parameters we have. And we give prognosis based on information we have. And it still works.
Yes, okay, this is what I wanted to know. And so you don't rectify the data. There's no like rectification process where you try to find out the hour by investigating and seeing what matches.
Like no, back to Namkhas, I calculate the most important and precise type of Namkha for the hour of birth. And some people don't know their time of birth initially, and in this case, I recommend a rectification procedure.
Okay.
And then we do it. So if we have an opportunity to clarify these parameters, of course, we clarify them.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, so wind of the cast Miwa is also one of the parameters regarding Miwa. And we see that life and health neutral, but one is positive, which again tells us that energy of success, of wealth, of power, of being famous is really strong. And again, like their fortune energy is not very good, which I think very understandable. If they are very famous, there are a lot of people who envy this. So it's kind of a karmic imprint they have. Because great success comes with great envy, I believe.
Yes, sadly, yeah.
And the overall conclusion from this parameter that they prosper. So that's why the prosperity is written here. Again, they prosper. Okay, and we have one more parameter. It's called Dargut, or thread of prosperity in decline, and it illustrates 12 stages of which every person goes through, starting from conception and to death. And we use this parameter to calculate again four fundamental energies. And again, it shows that life is good, body is ill, success is great, I get food and wealth increase, and the power and fortune energy is bad, and there's a lot of gossip behind their backs because it's responsible for gossip. And the last parameter I analyzed was combination of planets and constellations. This part is very close, I believe, to Vedic astrology because we have the same 28 or 27 constellations, and actually this part was extracted from Vedic tradition.
The nakshatras.
Yeah, nakshatras, yes. And I analyzed and no negative aspects regarding the influence of planets and constellations. So, in general, again, very successful, very rich, very powerful couple, great kids, negative aspects, negative health aspect is compensated by great charity work, and they carry this burden of fame, and there are people who dissatisfied with it, but we have what we have. And that's all for the analysis. It's only the part of the full horoscope because it's very big. It contains around 300 parameters, and part of information related to parents of each person. So I didn't do that because there's lack of information. But again, for example, my teacher from the course uses these exact parameters I used to analyze in general what fate of the couple will be.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, so I think it's time for your part, yes?
So I'm amazed by your preparation, and I'm honestly spoken a little bit unprepared because I've prepared this other couple, but what we can do is like I'm just going to navigate you through my software in a little
Okay.
bit of an freestyle flow.
Sounds great. I think it's the sign of great experience that you can do it in the flow mode. That's okay. I'm just I'm not that experienced yet. So it's always for me. It's better to prepare and analyze everything in advance. It's just nurtures my anxiety.
Yes, I also prefer to prepare because then, I can make myself notes and go through the whole protocol. But, like the protocol I have has also dozens of parameters. And do you see my screen, by the way?
Mhm. I see. I see. Yes. Should I turn off my camera?
Maybe. Yes.
Okay.
So maybe we can have then the full screen in the recording, but I'm not sure of how that works actually in the recording itself. I have to watch the recording later to see how the results came out. So as you can see, this is my software where we have the chart of Denzel Washington here.
Mhm.
So in Indian astrology, before I dive into a compatibility, um, I look into the chart itself,
Mhm.
and I also look into first the chart to understand how that person relates to marriage and partnership itself.
Mhm.
So I have to look at the seventh house, for example, and I see the Lord of the seventh house is exalted Jupiter retrograde in a very good auspicious house. So I know already, okay, that person has a very fruitful relationship and marriage life. This itself, I can already see. just by looking at the horoscope itself. And then I can see as well that his Jupiter is involved into a yoga. It's called a yoga. I tap it in here. It's a Gaja Kesari yoga, which are particular planetarian constellations which bring massive success and popularity, fame, wealth, all of this. And this is basically what he has, what he's showing here in the moon chart. You can see his moon basically being aspected in an opposition with Jupiter. So this itself tells me two amazing benefics placed in two amazing houses. This itself already tells me, yeah, a very successful human. Which would kind of reflect this Wang, what you described in your
Mm-hmm.
presentation. And this gossip and everything that you mentioned could be reflected in his sixth house for enemies and conflicts, and having Mars there actually is good because Mars is a warrior, and Mars in the sixth house shows enormous resilience and enormous willpower to actually destroy your enemies. So
Wow, yeah.
yeah, like I kind of feel that reflected, even if there is like, accusations or difficulties with other people, he
Mm-hmm.
overcomes it. He has the capacity to overcome it.
Yeah, it reflects with Wang energy, as I said, success, willpower, yes, the ability to fight, yes, exactly. Very interesting.
Yes, and actually, when we look at Pauletta's birth horoscope, when we look at her birth chart, what we see, I try to take here the intelligent pencil because I don't want to look it too messy. So we don't know her birth time. So I have drafted it for 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know her ascendant, right? And in this case, for 12 o'clock, her Mars sits in the first house, dignified in Scorpio. So depending on her ascendant, we have a different planet in her ascendant, right? So we have to kind of play a little bit with this just to see, so if I change, let's say, the hour, for example, 10 o'clock, she would have a Libra rising, right? So we don't know her exact hour. So it's a little bit of, just a playground here for us to play with this. But nevertheless, her Mars is very strong, you know? So her,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want to like mix concepts here, but I would say Wang is very much reflecting the energy of Mars and Jupiter. Because Jupiter is very expansive in its presence nature, and very abundant. And Mars has a lot of like potency and energy and life force and vitality. So I think, to have a strong Mars and to have a strong Jupiter definitely contributes to Wang. And of course, also having a very strong ascendant, because the ascendant is our body, is our physicality, is our incarnation, basically, is our appearance, our personality, and so forth. So having a strong ascendant, and in case of Denzel Washington, he has a strong ascendant. His ascendant ruler is Mercury, sitting in a Kendra in one of the four important houses. It is combusted, though, I have to say. It's combusted with the sun, which dims a little bit of the Mercurian energy. So the Mercury is representing the nervous system, the skin, and seeing that, I would say, okay, he's very sensitive as well. Has a lot of pitta, fire in
Mhm.
his nervous system, and probably also shouldn't be exposed too much to sunlight. Yeah, so like we could go like in depth into that, but that's not the whole focus here. So let's go back to Pauletta. So we don't know her ascendant, so I don't know how strong her ascendant is, but
Oh, excuse me, one more thing about Denzel. I would like to follow up. Like
yes.
you said, about a lot of pitta, and also it's confirmed in his Tibetan astrology chart because his life energy is fire.
Interesting. Yes, I love those synchronicities, because we have different frameworks, but as you have presented it, I've seen also, yeah, congruent patterns, which is why I really wanted to do this with you, because we kind of get to a very similar result.
It's very interesting, yes.
Um, yes, so Pauletta, we actually don't know her birth time, so when we look at her yogas, though, she has she doesn't have a Gajakesari yoga. And basically, when we took like 12, she would have Mars in her first house and Venus, Mercury in the 10th for publicity, being known for being beautiful in the public. But these are just speculations. I didn't rectify anything. But still, we know the planets are staying in the same sign. Um, we just have to double check the moon. If the moon is changing on that day, because then we can also not use the moon. So up until the next day, the moon is staying in Aries. So we don't have a change on that day because the moon is changing each sign every 2.5 days.
Mhm.
And we have to double check that the moon is, yes, so there is a change happening though. Let me just see. Um, her, so, oh no, I've been moving into the 27th of September, which is not her birthday. She's born on the 28th, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So the moon is not changing. The moon has transitioned into Aries just from the 27th to the 28th before. All right, so we can use the moon. Um, so we have to play a little bit around with that before we go into the analysis. And I leave it 12 because I feel comfortable and intuitively this feels kind of matching. Um, but yeah, so what we do first, or what I do first in the compatibility is I check their planetarian sec. I want to bring that up. So their planetarian compatibility. So I look into his planets, how they aspect and influence her placements, vice versa. So what we have here is um, something shifted here. Yeah. You know, sometimes when I change the birth time, the software um, does a little mistake. So I have to reset this. Okay, now it's correct. So what we have here is the inner chart that you see here is Pauletta's chart, and the outer chart is Denzel's chart. Okay, and the same here. And what we did is, as you can see, we are kind of matching here the signs. So we have the house that is ruled by the sign Scorpio is in that sign is aligning here, right? So the houses with the same sign are basically like wrapped around. So the chart is embracing the other chart. Does that make sense? Can you follow me?
Yes, like if there is the same parameters like that, they kind of reflect, the union. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So what we do now is we look into first the planetary aspects. And so when we see here, we have the ascendants, but you know, since we don't know her ascendant, we can't use the ascendant. But if that ascendant, just for, for the sake of explanation, if her ascendant would be Scorpio, then his ascendant, which is in Virgo, would be 3 houses away, right? So 1, 2, 3. So his ascendant is basically in a sextile to her
Mm-hmm.
ascendant. And that aspect is considered very positive. Okay. So we have here in this example, even though we don't know her right ascendant, what I do in a compatibility analysis, I see how are the ascendants towards each other. And they are very important, the ascendants, because as I said, they express our personality, our identity, our physicality. And if you have mismatching ascendants, then you have not only incompatible bodies, but you also have an kind of incompatible daily flow with each other. Also habits, for example, a different routine. Let's say one is getting up super early, the other one is getting up late. One is at work the whole day and comes home and wants to rest, while the other stays at home and waits the whole day and stays up late. Like all of
Yes,
these
yes. Routine. Yes, routine.
like indifferences in that, right? But also even like choices of how to show up, like dressing or food choices, like what do you like to eat and all of that. And also like, so basically time schedules are mismatching and also the way how you organize space. So the ascendants are very important. And if there are mismatching ascendants, there is definitely a challenge in navigating around that. And it is possible to remediate that. I'm not saying that couples who have mismatching ascendants are, not working, but there is definitely a challenge, at least in that. And what we can say for sure about this couple here is that they have aligned Venuses. And the ascendant and Venus and Moon, I consider most important in compatibility protocols because the Moon represents communication and feeling seen and understood and emotionally safe. The ascendant represents our physical compatibility, but also our routine. And Venus is very much showing us affection, love, romantic aspects of that relationship. So these three I consider most important. And in this case, we have here, Denzel has a very strong Venus in Libra, while Pauletta has Venus in Leo, and we have here a sextile
Mhm.
as well. So that's also a very positive alignment, right? To have a positive score for that. Then when we look at the moon score, we can see that his moon is in Capricorn while her moon is in Aries. So that is a square. As you can see, it's an aspect. And a square are usually considered negative, and they definitely involve some sort of arguing or at least some sort of tension in the communication. But overall, I would say this cornerstone Moon Venus ascendant, even though we don't know the ascendant, um, looks okay to me, even with that, let's say, arguing at least. And as I lead you through that, process, all these parameters, we can't make a judgment in the beginning,
Mhm.
as you said, like let's say we have a negative score, like, a square as in their moons, but later on we see, for example, we see a positive aspect. Let's say in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say Jupiter is, for example, aspecting the moon and giving like a very nurturing and friendship like support to the moon. Then, of course, that negative score is supported by another parameter and it gets less expressed in a negative way.
Sounds great, and I see parallels with my reading. It's very interesting, and you inspire me to learn some of the basics of Vedic astrology. It's very interesting.
Yes, and I've actually looked into what they said about their relationship, and they said it was an up and down, which where they had to also, like do a lot of work and come up and show up with care and attention with each other. And they even remarried, actually, they even like renewed their vows. I think like 15 years later after their marriage. So, like in Indian astrology, first we look into the birth chart of the two people. Then we look into their compatibility. And then the next step would be when they are married, we also look into their marriage chart. So we draft a chart for the time when they got married. Because we say that is such a strong samskara, like
Mhm.
impression on them as a couple, as a unit.
Yeah, it's
And
karmic print. It's karmic print, yes.
yes, so, and if they didn't married, then we would take the day they moved together. And if they didn't move together, then we could look into the day they had the first time sex.
Mm-hmm.
And if that didn't happen yet, we would look into when was the first kiss. And if, if that didn't happen yet, then we would look into the day they have first met and seen each other in person. And if they
Interesting.
didn't meet in person, then I would look on the day they met via Zoom the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is all like very like data we use for our analysis. And many people don't keep track of all these things. But as an astrologer, you do keep track on these things. And I don't know how much you involve these kind of things into your analysis, but this is also very detailed. And if they pay me more for more of this kind of work, I also, investigate in those details and into depth. But in most cases, we stay with the marriage date.
Mm-hmm. It's also interesting that they remarried because, from the Tibetan astrology point of view, it's a very strong magic action. So they rewrite, they create the new karmic point in
Hmm.
their mandalas together.
Yes.
And actually, it could have worked as a correction method, I think. So yeah, very good idea for them.
Yes. So I would have, if I would have prepared more, I would have looked up their second marriage day because that counts. And it also negates the chart of their previous marriage. So for example, like, some Indian couples, for example, or there was one example, an Indian woman married a Western man, and they had this amazing idea of going to an Indian astrologer to elect a very auspicious day for their marriage. This is called electional astrology. And, they paid a lot of money. They had this beautiful day where there was a full moon. The seventh house was aspected by benefics and all of that parameters to choose the right marriage day. And they had this beautiful marriage, but then they had the idea to like also have a wedding ceremony in Europe, which was on a completely like inauspicious day, right?
Uh,
So what happened was the auspicious marriage day was negated by their new marriage under, let's say, more inauspicious circumstances, which is just, just a little bit of, how these things sometimes on a practical level, happen to get to get mixed, and then, I think it's important that, there's more education also around these things. Which is also why I think, by contributing this kind of knowledge to the public, people can make, better choices for themselves, right? And
exactly, and there's the same thing in Tibetan astrology. It must be calculated when to travel, when to have a honeymoon, because yes, the same thing. It's
yes,
also can kill, the energy of auspicious wedding, of choosing the special hour for wedding. Yeah, that
yes,
was very understandable. Yes.
yes, there are all these there are all these things. For example, you don't marry on a Tuesday or on a Saturday because Tuesday is linked to Mars energy and Saturday to Saturn, right? You
It's the
wanna,
same in Tibetan astrology. Yes, Tuesday is not favorable day for marriage.
yes, You have that too? Okay, interesting. So yeah, so this is how we kind of go through. So first we look at all of these planetarian aspects. And what I found interesting is that when we look at here at this chart, um, we have Denzel's ascendant here, right? With Virgo. And Paulette's sun, you can see her sun here, um, is coming to his ascendant. And if that happens, the person experiences the opposite, or the person coming to you, towards you, and brings you a lot of light, like sunlight energy, which kind of can be put into the phrase that person light ups my life, right? That's
Mhm.
considered a very positive score, and especially conjunctions and oppositions are very powerful aspects. So we have here a Sun ascendant conjunction. I'm not going on here because I don't know her ascendant, but here we know for sure her Sun is in Virgo and is in conjunction with his ascendant. But at the same time, when we look over here, her Saturn is also in conjunction with his ascendant. And that actually I consider a little bit like Vedic astrology considers that a negative score, but I also saw in like practices that when that happens, the one partner is actually encouraging the other to take up more responsibility, to work harder, to be more focused. But that energy could also kind of cool off a little bit and bring, if one pays not attention to that tendency, it can bring a little bit of harshness and criticism as well. So the person, so in this case, Pauletta, has to pay attention to her, let's say, less emotional and more practical driven attitude. Like let's
Yes.
let's buy a big house for the kids, and let's give them the best life possible. And in order to make that dream true, you should take up more of this acting roles or whatever, like this kind of pressure that can be digested by Denzel into, that he gets like more focus and is more like driven towards work or whatever. But it can definitely disturb a little bit of domestic and emotional things if one is not paying attention. So there's a little bit of a paradox here, She brings light into his life, but she also brings a little bit of pressure into his life.
Interesting.
Yes, and that conjunction sticks out as well. And what I found also very interesting is that in both charts, since the sun and moon, we know their placements here. What we have here, so her moon in Aries is in a square with his moon, and now when we look at the moon-sun conjunctions, let's see, his sun is in Sag and her moon is in Aries. So what we have here is we have a trine going on here. So her moon and his sun are in a trine aspect towards each other. And his moon, his sun, sorry, his moon and her sun are also in a trine. So we have mutual trines going on for sun and moon aspects within their charts, which is a mutual alignment. And whenever there is something reflected, like mutually happening for in both directions, that becomes a very strong bond. So, and just to say on sun moon aspects are incredibly powerful. So not only like do they represent our internal feminine and masculine energies and energy flows and essences, but they also represent in Western astrology. So there's like a deep tradition also in Western astrology where we have sun and moon as the ideal, let's say, the ideal anchors for compatibility. So having a sun and moon positive mutual aspect going on, the best would be conjunction, of course, or opposition. But a trine still plays into it, and especially because of being mutually in their charts. And when we think about, so Carl Jung, for example, he said a relationship is like a sacred alchemical vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And so how he describes it is in this beautiful mandala way. So we are not like, if two people come together, it's not two halves coming together, completing one another. That's a misconception. What happens is two whole beings come together and create this sacred vessel, this alchemical vessel. And for example, passion and intensity and attraction and all of this desire, and but at the same time also remembrance and the sacred aspect of a relationship, right? All of that, intimacy, connection, all of that is boiling, you know, boiling
Mm-hmm.
this alchemical process. And what happens is through love, out of this connection, you create the highest gold and elevate each other. And, you know, like in an ideal case, you bring out the essence of each other in the most beautiful way. If the alchemical process is undisturbed. And Carl Jung described this alchemical process very much as sun and moon coming together. And that is a very tantric approach, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, we can see here that definitely. And sun moon for sure is a marker here. And also I discovered we have a moon Venus opposition. So his moon, it's not an opposition here going on. All right. Um, what do we have here? And this is not, and her moon is in opposition with his. All right. So in Pauletta's birth horoscope, we have moon in Aries, and his Venus in Libra is in opposition to her moon, right?
Mhm.
So this is also considered very, very auspicious because Venus represents love and moon represents comfort. And moon and Venus coming together, either in opposition or conjunction, makes the person feel like, oh, that must be true love, what I feel. And it is a very romantic combination. So having Moon Venus is definitely a deal maker, which brings forth a very juicy and very romantic, caring love for each other. At the same time, I want to point out that there's also Saturn. And Saturn Moon, as an opposition, actually brings a lot of like emotional relief. So there is some sort of also catharsis happening between these two, through process of talking things out, working with their traumas, getting deep into subjects. And I could really imagine Saturn with the moon in this combination together with Venus moon that might amplify a lot of their charity and donation kind of things because they feel the suffering of people. And it is expressed also in their relationships. Within their relationship, there's a lot of, there might be a lot of like conversation around what they can do to help others and a talk on how traumatic or how certain things are not aligning with their truth and what they can do about it because they have abundance themselves and they want to share it with others. And yeah, so this Saturn moon is considered in classical Indian astrology as a negative score because there is like traumatic grief and relief things going on. Me personally, in my practice, I discovered Saturn moon to be actually very helpful in going through emotions and bonding also on this very deep level, like, getting really naked in your being and in your needs and really showing what you feel, you know. And unless there is that intimacy, um, you're not opening up, you know. So I consider it also a little bit ambiguous, that aspect. I've seen it also being beneficial in relationships. And the shadow of that might be that you don't stop like going into the shadows, you know. And then you need an aspect like Venus Moon to also keep the pleasurable things also as well flowing, you know, to not only engage in that grief work, but also to feel light and to feel happy and comfortable with each other.
Great.
So, I'm going very much into detail here, but this is how this work looks like. And since I didn't prepare a protocol, I'm kind of freestyling. So it's a little bit, bear with me if I take a few seconds to look at it.
of course. Yeah, I understand.
So yes, so another highly important aspect is also their Venus Mars here. That's also an opposition. And Venus Mars opposition is leading to incredible attraction, and an erotic pull as well, because Mars brings that testosterone, adrenaline, like that tension, and that intensity, while Venus brings that sensuality. And that combination actually brings a lot of passion in a relationship. And I can see that here, and that definitely supports, let's say, the sexual chemistry between them, even after 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So there, with that aspect, there's definitely, the spark ongoing between them. Even though there is a Saturn ascendant aspect that kind of cools off a little bit that chemistry from time to time because of her, let's say, pressure time to time. And also he himself, so Denzel himself has a strong Venus, but that Venus is conjunct Saturn. And that's a kind of like polar energy, Venus is all about relaxing and softening and opening in love. And Saturn is more about, like limiting and focusing and hard work. And first you do the labor and then you relax kind of thing. So he himself actually has a bit of like, even though he's very sensual and artistic in a sense that his Venus is dignified in Libra, he has also Saturn sitting there. Let's just quickly look at, oh, and as you can see, it's very tight, a very tight aspect. It's 24 degrees and 29, so it's within the orbit. So yeah, there's definitely a little bit also of like a cooled off tendency within himself with regards to his own sensuality, and a little bit of a push and pull sometimes, and also a little bit of like disappointment also in love and romance itself. Yeah, so yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a mixed picture here, but we have that in most cases, There's always an energetic spectrum where we have definitely some highlighting aspects, like for example, this one. And then we have some, let's say, we have a very defined energy flow. And then we have like, little interferences as well, influencing the highlighted flow. And then we get a very messy graffiti painting. And then you basically have the reflection of the other person. So let's say this is kind of Denzel's energy. And then we have here a reflection of Pauletta. And these energies get reflected back to Denzel, like, but in a more subtler way. While there's also her energy contributing with her little interferences to that whole energetic tapestry. And then that's reflected back. So, like it's not linear at all, these things, in the end, they are coming up as a mixture of energetic spontaneity that is also depending on the moment, which has its own chart as well, right? Which would be the transit chart, which affects also the birth chart. So there are all these layers, right? And this is, I'm telling you these things not because you don't know, but because I want to share the complexity of astrological practice and how we need to stack all of these layers in order to get a whole
Picture.
picture.
Yes, I understand because some there's the also the horoscope of karma of current reincarnation I do, and there are also a lot of parameters, and sometimes they contradict each other, and you need to kind of analyze and also trust your intuition to understand what's the whole picture, where's the analysis, and where's the commentary.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, especially when we're dealing with like previous lives and karma and all of these things. There's a lot to put into consideration. But in Indian astrology, I don't do previous life astrology charts for people who don't have precise birth time. Because things get very messy if I don't have an exact birth time. Like the subchart for previous lives is changing within like minutes. So I need to make sure that the birth time is correct. And even then, there's still a possibility that the nurse has written the wrong time. And, so we are always having a little bit of a risk in this practice as well. I want to point that out because not everyone has, the exact birth time to work with. And I prefer to not speculate if I don't have the exact birth time for past lives. But
Mhm.
I don't know how in Tibetan astrology that works. And but
It's like karma horoscope is built around time of birth. It's important parameter.
Mhm.
Uh, so I don't know. I have a person. And also, it's very important to know like date of birth for mother and father. And I have a person who ordered this karma horoscope, and they don't know. They were adopted, so they don't know their mother's date of birth. So it will be interesting, like to build. This horoscope, because it will be like only half or maybe 60% of it just just to look at it. And so Tibetan astrology works with absence of time of birth, but I will see the result, like how it will work.
Yes. I'm just seeing the time, we are here now already over an hour for sure. How do you feel? Do you feel like going more in depth with me into the process?
I would stop here because we have a second chart also,
Yes.
and would work on it and have a conversation about the second chart.
Mm-hmm. Because now we have actually just discussed like the first layer,
Wow.
which are those aspects of the planets, and then actually we go into traditional astrology where we use the nakshatras and the animal that is linked to each lunar mention, to each nakshatra. And then we look into the compatibility of these two animals to look into their sexual compatibility. And then we look into their potential for children and fruits of their relationship and health. So basically what you have also done. But that's a complete like whole other protocol,
Mhm.
um, which is definitely having a lot of parallels with what you shared. Um, So yeah, maybe we do a closure here because I think we've given enough like insight, and I don't want to like overshare information
Hmm.
because it has to be digested as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's continue later, right?
Right.
We have another couple with very low compatibility. So they broke up like after half a year or something like that, right?
Yes, correct. Like they broke up less than in 2 years.
Yeah, so we that would be Nicolas Cage and Lisa Presley, right?
Correct. Yes.
All right, my dear. So then let's take a pause here and see you later.
Yeah, I also would like to complete it. I would like to share the story. Like I saw that compatibility horoscope in Vedic astrology is multi-layered, it's complex, and one can dive into it deeply for several hours. And our teacher on the course thought that your analysis should be condensed. And he shared the story that a lama worked in Moscow, like he arrived to Moscow to teach medicine and give readings. And a couple who were to be married came to him and asked about compatibility. And also, compatibility horoscope, full horoscope, is about 350 parameters. And they expected like detail to our explanation and commentary, but they visited again this lama, and he said, yeah, you can marry. The horoscope is over, the reading is over. Yeah, so different approaches, but yeah, very interesting. Thank you.
Yes, yes, definitely. There is a medicine in, just pinpointing the most important aspects and to not go into too much of the detail. Yeah, because
Okay.
yeah, revealing also too much of details can also lead to confusion and to fixation of the mind, right? And then that person is maybe overly fixating on a negative aspect while there are so many other beautiful aspects to be considered and all of this. Yeah. So thank you so much, Anaji,
Thank
and
you.
we see us this evening.
Yes, yes,
Have
bye.
a have a beautiful pause. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.